Okay, so this video is going to cover the GL multi-folder financial statement. Again, all of these are in the same location on the server: services templates, distributed report templates, Office Connector, financials, development. That's where you'll find all of these for now. Okay, I'll go ahead and launch the report. Again, as I've said repeatedly in other videos, the main thing here, starting off with, is to confirm the user's experience is what we'd expect. So we're going to confirm that we see the prompts that we'd expect going in. We don't see any unexpected messages or errors or long delays or something that we would consider abnormal, like that, for example. Glad I did this. Okay, so anything like that that comes up, even if it's in this video, please make sure to document it in a Bugzilla report, and that way we can make sure that those things get addressed and checked off the list. And I think, as I've indicated maybe in another video, the minimum version of Office Connector required in any of these should be updated. I think this one actually is correct. 2.04 or higher would be the version number. So that version is going to be bumped when we officially release this. And so that's going to be the minimum version required at that point. And another unexpected behavior. Okay, so as indicated in other videos, we want to start with the information sheet and make sure that it is accurate and clear. So read the whole thing, look for anything that's misspelled, inaccurate, not clear to the user. When we get to the step-by-step instructions, of course, we want to make sure that the steps are correct for this template. And then on every worksheet, we'll want to bring up the print window and confirm that we see a print layout that's reasonable. Even though the user probably won't ever print the admin sheet or the sample value sheet, we just want to make sure that we don't have invalid stuff there. Like if the heading says AP invoice on it, that would be completely wrong. Also, if pages are cut off or something in an unnatural way, we want to make sure that we document that and address it. Okay, and then as far as the first things to test, again, as before, we're going to start with what the experience would be if we were demoing this. So in that context, you're just going to want to get in, connect to the database, use the sample values, refresh it, and show the output. You're not going to go into a whole lot of different scenarios and details. So I'd start there, starting with sample values. I click that button, and it should drop all the sample values into the appropriate input cells, and then from there I can click on refresh. I have seen an issue on other reports that I've done this video for where I've had to refresh twice for some reason, and this might be another case like that, or it might just be that I haven't selected any data folders yet. But it still should at least use the one I logged in with. I'll try it one more time. Seems to take longer the second time, so that's a clear indicator that something's up with the first refresh. Okay, that looks a little better. So something like this would be an anomaly. Obviously, there shouldn't be a pound name result in a cell. Now in this case I didn't bother with setting any data folders, but the way the data folder selection works in this report is maybe a little bit different than I think the multi-folder report that we've had that was VBA based. Here, what it's basically doing is it's querying to build a list of data folders automatically, and then all the user has to do is go down through and put in a true or false. And that might be another area to document in terms of if making a change to the selection in that list leads to an abnormal delay, like when causing everything to recalculate, that might be something to look at as far as something we would need to change. But that's how that's supposed to work. So that would be another example of a message, which some things we might not be able to do much about. If the data folder is just too long, it's too long. But that's where the point of this exercise is, to go through all these different things and try to identify any issues that might come up. Okay, let's deselect the one that's causing us the problem. Okay, so aside from that, this report is going to work really just like the other financial statements report, the one with drill down. This one does not have drill down, but other than that, it has the same trial balance, balance sheet, and profit and loss statement, but we're simply consolidating between multiple data folders. That's not going to be something that we can easily test on the Timberline side, because the Timberline financial statement designer only can report off of one data folder at a time. So what we will need to do in that scenario is when we're checking values, you literally have to run a financial from one folder, switch to another folder, run the same financial, add the numbers together. Not for every account maybe, but for at least a certain number of accounts that we're going to spot check. Add the numbers together, confirm that we're seeing the consolidated value in this report. Values that I would check on every financial statement would be, I would check at least one of every account type. So, assets, liabilities, equity, and then retained earnings would be one to always check. And then, of course, income, cost, and expense. So I'll just check certain values in at least one account in each one of those categories to make sure that we're getting the right result. So aside from that, the prefix lists work the same as it does in the other reports. I can see an issue in this one as well as in the last one that this list should not already have data in it. So that's just a carryover from initial testing. So it should just be list 1, list 2, and those columns should be blank. So that would be an issue to document. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for this report. Again, just like the other ones, we want to put it through its paces relative to trying different combinations of things. So, for example, if we selected the single prefix option and then said, all 20s, and we put 2% here, meaning any prefix that starts with a 2, we'd want to confirm that that's what we're getting. Now, I'm going to show in a separate video how to use the financial statement designer to return the same information. So we can tell it to consolidate all the 2s, so you have data you can compare to. And same as this option here, giving it a list of prefixes. Again, there's a similar option in financial statements where we can provide a list of prefixes that it will consolidate, and that way we have a report that we can compare to. Some values are not going to be present in the sample data. You will need to use some of the QA data sets for that. So for example, for cash or anything having to do with budgets, you may need to use the QA data sets. And so there you would just run the same report out of Timberline using the same QA data set to compare to. Just like the other ones that I mentioned before, we'll want to make sure we've tested all the functionality. So save as values should do what we expect. It should just carry out an ordinary save as values operation, but it will also hide information, admin, sample values. I think it probably hides data folders as well. So anything that would no longer need to be dynamic, it's hidden. Customize converts all the account list queries to static lists, so the customer can then be free to rearrange things and change things and add subtotals and whatever, however they want, with all the formulas still staying the same. So those would be the points of functionality to test. And that's pretty much it. I didn't mention this in the other videos. I would probably also want to make sure that we test taking a workbook once it's been refreshed, saving it as an Excel workbook, exiting completely out of Excel, and then opening it later to confirm that to confirm the user's experience is what's expected. So when you open it, what happens? Make sure that we don't see any unexpected messages or unexpected return values like pound value or pound name or something like that coming up. Okay, so that is everything for that report.